What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Between the Lines Sports Podcast. We are your host, Blair, and this is Patrick. This is our mini podcast for the week, focused on Tennessee athletics. We're going to be covering the win this past weekend against South Carolina. They're on a bye week this upcoming week, so we'll only be talking about this past week's play. So what do you got on the game?
Very pleasantly surprised with how it went. I think last week we both talked about we thought Tennessee would win, but it was a dominating win. It's hard to believe that South Carolina was even ahead at any point during that game because just felt like Tennessee controlled the whole thing. Obviously, it wasn't like a blowout or anything like that, but I think Tennessee controlled the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. Really, other than one long play South Carolina had, they had no success moving the ball whatsoever. I mean, the two touchdowns they scored were that play and then a short field with one of the couple interceptions that Tennessee gave them. So, dominating win, and I mean, just really, really impressed. Obviously, having Cooper Mays back was huge for the offensive line. Really improved the communication and allowed just seemed to be more in sync overall. Joe had a good game. Obviously had the two interceptions, but I would still say played a really good game. One interception, he obviously just didn't see the safety, and then the other interception was kind of just a 50-50 ball that he maybe underthrew a tad, but I mean, it gave Chacon the ball on the two. So I just thought all around a good performance. Defense was just lights out. I mean, obviously with 6 sacks, we talked about maybe that was the key to the game, and the defensive line really got after Rattler. Probably made the biggest play in the game by forcing Rattler into that pick right before the half, which we can talk more about that sequence of plays there. But just a really great play, a really great game, and a really good response, especially after people questioning what they would look like after that Florida game. I think they responded well and just really played a complete game on Saturday.
Yeah, I think it was the best game they've played all year as far as a whole. I mean, if you take away 2 plays from that game, if you take away the interception that gave South Carolina the ball in our red zone that they got a touchdown on, and then the one play on defense where they broke the one for 75 yards or whatever it was for a touchdown, if you take away those 2 plays, I mean, we're talking about a 41-6 ball game versus a 41-21 game. So
Yeah.
still, still a 3 touchdown game, but that's potentially a blowout if you look at it that way. But it was good to see them handle business the way that we know they're capable of when they're clicking on all cylinders. Like you said, Joe played a good game other than the 2 picks, but really the one is only the one that hurt us out of the 2. But we ran the ball well. It sucks to see Brew McCoy go down with the injury. He's kind of the go-to security blanket guy on the offense. So Joe's gonna have to find that new guy to go to in crunch time, and hopefully somebody can step up and take his place. But it was just dominant, like you said. We didn't really expect it to be as dominant as it was. I was kind of worried about it a little bit. I thought we would win, but I didn't expect us to kind of contain Rattler throwing the ball. I wasn't really worried about the run game, which that was their biggest play offense the whole night was that one run. But I saw a video the other day that said, like, if you told me that Spencer Rattler was going to be held under 170 yards passing, I would have bet everything I own on Tennessee to win the ball game, which, I mean, I think he had like 168 or something. So he was just under. So felt good about it. It's a much needed bye week, kind of get healthy again. I think, like you said, Cooper Mays coming back was big time for the offense. And, if he's tweaked up a little bit, he'll have this extra week of rest. Everybody else will have their extra week and kind of give the offense a chance to move forward without Brew and see where it's going to go from here.
Yeah. I mean, like you said on a couple of things there, obviously losing Brew sucks. Just because even more than on the field, you can tell he's just a great guy. Like everybody loves him, kind of like Joe. Everybody on the team loves him, and just crazy to see the cart come out that fast. Obviously, I was there, so I couldn't tell immediately, but you texted me like almost right when it happened to my dad too, that just it wasn't good. And you see that cart coming out, I mean, that stinks. So there might be an underlying, I mean, like a kind of a silver lining to it that especially with NIL. I mean, Tennessee might get him back just depending on how long the rehab process takes. Because I think
Yeah.
he can definitely be an NFL receiver. I don't know if he's going to get drafted high, but I mean, he's physical and he's got that possession style of play that he does, and he blocks so well. I think that he'll be in the NFL, but this might make it to where he probably maybe has to come back for another year just to prove that he's healthy. But I think that's the
Yeah.
thing that we'll lose the most is his blocking. Because a lot of the times when we throw those little screens, the wide receiver screens or the slip screens
Yeah.
for the running backs, he's the one blocking. So somebody's going to have to step up. Obviously, some guys have been in the program like Caleb Webb and Chaz Nimrod, but they're going to have to really fill that role, which will be hard to do. But we got guys that are capable, so hopefully they're able to. Um, but like you said, also getting healthy. I mean, in the second half, there was a play where Omar Norman Lott kind of went flying in, and he definitely got a concussion. So it's a good
Oh,
thing we don't have a game this week because he would not be able to play. But with the bye week, he'll probably be able to rest. So like you said, there's a number of guys that got nicked up and had some bruises and things, but with the bye week, should be able to get them back. Cooper will be able to get more in game shape over these next 2 weeks. Elijah Simmons was able to play for the first time this year, so he'll be able to build up some more stamina. So it'll just be good, especially with the injury to Brew, to get some of those guys that maybe they were ready to play, but they knew they weren't going to be needed immediately. Now they're probably going to be. I mean, you talk about Nimrod, Webb, and probably the freshman Laycock. Those guys are probably have a heightened sense of urgency these next 10 days, trying to be the guy that's first out there in Bruce's spot. So we'll see what happens. Not to mention Thornton didn't play either with that
yeah.
tugged hamstring. So hopefully some of those guys will be able to get caught up, get up to speed, and get healthy and be ready to go for the next one, because the next one will definitely be the best team that Tennessee's played to this point.
Yeah, and one other thing about the offense that I liked this past week was not necessarily trick plays, but just kind of the unpredictable plays that we did. The little shovel passes to Samuel that went, they were big plays both times we did it. I want to see us do more stuff like that, not necessarily with Samuel in there, but just in general, just kind of keep them on their toes and throw something at them that they're not expecting. But we've got a tough after this bye week. We've got a tough 3-game stretch with A&M at home, at Alabama, and then at Kentucky. Um, there's 2 losses between all 3 of those teams combined, so it'll be a tough stretch. And then UConn should be a win at home, and then we'll finish the year with at Missouri, and then have Georgia at home, and then have Vanderbilt at home. So, not a cupcake schedule by any means at this last part of the year, but this 3-game stretch is crucial for the postseason, I guess you could say, bowl game or playoffs, whatever it may be at that point.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the little shovel pass to Sampson is a great play. Those,
I don't know why.
yeah, I was wondering if we had picked up Debo Samuel. That'd been nice. But
Yeah, I wish.
the play they ran too that Brew got hurt on, and then they ran on the last drive, kind of milking the clock, but they end up scoring a touchdown to make it 41-20. That deep slant, Joe is really, I mean, he's really improved his accuracy as the year's gone on for sure. The last couple of games has been much better, but that deep slant, that pass where he's hitting them about 12 to 15 yards down the field and really letting the receiver get full speed. We hit that 3 times, and I mean, that's a weapon right there. So
Yeah.
if he's able to stay with that and be accurate, I mean, that play alone is a great addition to the offense, because that's the play Brew got hurt on, and then he hit Nimrod and Keaton on that same route on that last drive of the game. So, like you said, just keep mixing things in there. We know Heupel has all kinds of stuff up his sleeve. We just got to give Joe enough time to set his feet, and he's got to be accurate with the ball, because I mean, I think the running game's going to be there. Obviously, tougher D lines ahead, like you said, Texas A&M and Alabama, and really Kentucky this year too, probably are going to be challenges. But just really impressed with the way they played. And like you said about Rattler, I mean, he coming in, arguably he was the hottest quarterback in the league. I mean, even against Georgia, he threw for over 300 yards. They weren't able really. I mean, they got him off his spot, but he was still completing passes on the run. So I was really impressed with how well they were able to contain him and kind of just get in his head and have him run for his life the whole game. So, like you said, the schedule
Yeah.
obviously gets tougher, and we'll talk about that as we move on next couple of weeks. But I like where Tennessee's at, and I think that A&M game is going to be a really good game between probably two of the second tier teams in the league. I'd still say probably Georgia is the top tier, even though we'll talk about that. But they got tested this week. But then I think Texas A&M, Tennessee, Alabama, on their best day, they all could compete with each other. So looking forward to
Yeah.
the stretch to see how it plays out.
Yep, I am too. And I mean, like you said, over the next couple weeks, we'll dive more into those games and the upcoming schedule since we got the bye week this week. So I believe that's all we have
Wait,
for this.
one more thing though. One more thing. We can't just. I know that you retweeted the clip too. Spencer Rattler saying that it was Tennessee's Super Bowl. Listen, buddy, we wanted to win just because of what happened last year, but Tennessee's going to play in about 5 or 6 bigger games than that one on Saturday this year. So can't let them get away with saying that without commenting on it. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, he honestly his post game comments were fine. I mean, really, other than that, I think he was because he's just a guy that I don't know. Even if he played it, I don't know. If somebody Tennessee didn't even play like Cincinnati or West Virginia or something, he just is like a guy that with his persona and stuff is, and I don't know, his history on that documentary QB1 is just a hard guy to root for based on the way he acts. So, but then he says stuff like that, and it's just like, dude, you just got to keep your mouth shut.
Yeah, what he fails to forget is like his game last year against Tennessee will be, book it right now, the best game he has in his college career. Like, dude went to Oklahoma and couldn't cut it, and that has been a place for the past, like, I don't know, 2 decades where quarterbacks just thrive in that offense. And in the Big 12, the power, like, put up 50 points a game, and he couldn't cut it over there. So now he had to settle, come into a better conference, but a much tougher conference to put up elite stats, not necessarily be an elite quarterback, but put up elite, like, big time numbers just because how good the defenses are. And, other than before the Tennessee game, he had been maybe average at best in the league. And then, I mean, he had a phenomenal game, not taking that away from him, but if anybody had a Super Bowl between the 2 games, it was definitely him last year.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that he was below average. I mean, I think he had like 8 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, or 10 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, something like that, coming to that Tennessee game, and then that game just completely sparked him. So, yeah, he just needs to slow his roll and have good memories of that game from last year, because there won't be many more like that for him in college.
Nope, they're on the downfall the rest of the year.
Yeah, and they were never up.
Yep. All right, I believe that is all we have for this mini podcast on UT Sports. So we will get back to them next week after the bye and give you some more information on the Texas A&M game that is next weekend on the 14th. Tune in next time.